Look at Thursday morning. South Central certainly has been a wet one across the region, and we're going to continue to see this widespread rain staying with us for a large portion of the day before tapering off as we welcome in the overnight hours. This is a live look outside. You can see just what we're dealing with those overcast skies, those wet conditions. In fact, when we're looking at the year as a whole, we're still on track for what likely is going to be another wet year, a wet record year. We're currently sitting at 15.33 inches of rainfall for the season, or precipitation. That includes rain as well as snowfall from earlier this year. This is the fourth wettest year through September 11th. Of course, the wettest going back to just 2 years ago at 2022 when we saw 18.5 inches of rainfall through the same time period. Now, while we're certainly seeing a lot less rain compared to 2022, it still is a wet year. Looking at days with precipitation through September 11th, you can see that 2023 actually stands out, a stark difference from the previous years, where last year we saw 102 days with some precipitation through September 11th. Most of that occurred during the beginning of the year when we did see those snowy events, but you can see here in 2024 we're sitting at roughly 80 days so far this year with some precipitation, and that has brought us several rounds of some heavy rainfall, and we're certainly looking at this month likely going to end as the third consecutive month with above average precipitation. We really have to go back to June when we saw the start of summer with a nice stretch of weather. Since then, we've been holding on to that wet weather pattern. July, we were about 2.20 inches above average. As we went through August, we were roughly 2 inches above average. And so far for the month of September, we're about a quarter above where we should be for this time of year. So there's that widespread rain that continues to build in across South Central. Notice western parts of the region actually sitting on the drier side. What's going on as that area of low pressure continues to build off to the east? We've got that colder air and drier air funneling in through Cook Inlet, so that's likely leading to some of those drier conditions, but we're still seeing that widespread rainfall across South Central. And there's that area of low pressure again continuing to march off towards the east, and it's going to lead to increasing rain and winds for the Panhandle as well. As that low continues to pull out of South Central, we will see those winds that have been with us for Kodiak, northern parts of the Gulf of Alaska and the Cook Inlet region. Those winds will die down as we welcome in the afternoon and evening hours, or late afternoon and evening hours. Out towards southeast, you can see that widespread rain building in as well. Not expecting to see any significant rainfall for a large portion of the Panhandle. On average, we'll see about 1 to 3 inches between now and the end of the week, with the heaviest occurring out towards Yakutat, Skagway, Haines, and Juneau. That is where we're going to see that potential for 1 to 3 inches, while farther south we'll see upwards of an inch of rainfall. Ketchikan, anywhere from 3/4 to an inch can be expected, and they're still seeing a moderate drought through parts of the southern interchannels, so certainly any rainfall is going to be beneficial. Thankfully, it's not going to be significantly heavy, as we are only going to see about 3/4 of an inch. Today, though, those temperatures may stay in the lower 50s for most locations across South Central. Now, western parts of the Kenai, where we're seeing some of those drier conditions, we may warm into the mid-50s. Overall, though, wet, cool, and breezy weather is what we can expect for the remainder of your Thursday before we welcome in Friday, where we should see some dry conditions. So there's that area of low pressure continuing to march off into the eastern Gulf of Alaska. That rain staying with us for most of the day. You can see overnight into early tomorrow morning, those rain showers do come to an end for South Central and then continue to impact the Panhandle, where we're going to hold on to some of that daily rainfall. For Friday, biggest concern really is going to be that rain out towards southeast, and of course we're watching our next system, which is going to lead to some widespread rainfall through the Aleutians. That will eventually impact southwest Alaska into Saturday. Now, with this next incoming low, we are talking about the potential that we could see some elevated wind or elevated water levels, as well as some strong winds for western Alaska from parts of the Norton Sound into the Seward Peninsula and south is where we could see some of those greatest impacts. So we'll be monitoring that as the weekend approaches, because that same system will impact South Central as well, leading to, yes, more rain as we welcome in our Saturday afternoon and evening. At least the first half of Saturday will be on the dry side. In fact, starting tomorrow morning through at least Saturday afternoon, that's where we'll hold on to some of those drier conditions before rain does build back into the region. And you can see by Saturday afternoon, we'll begin to see that rain beginning to approach western parts of South Central. So How much rain can we expect to see through the remainder of today? Well, largely expecting the heaviest rainfall to continue to occur through parts of Prince William Sound. Valdez and Cordova may pick up an additional quarter to a half an inch of rainfall. And then you can see from the Kenai, Anchorage into the valley, as well as out towards Copper River Basin. There's an outside potential. We could see those precipitation chances run up to about half an inch. Adding on to what we've already seen, we'll likely wake up tomorrow morning with over 16 inches of precipitation for the year. And that's likely going to continue to be the case as we welcome in the rest of September. Out towards southeast, here is that expected rainfall. You can see again out towards Ketchikan, largely expecting just half an inch to about 3/4 of an inch of rainfall, while that heavier amounts occur from the central to northern panhandle, with the Yakutat seeing that better potential for up to 3 inches of rainfall. So wet weather as we close out this week and as we look through the rest of September, at least the next 1 to 2 weeks of September. The same trend is going to hold. Wet weather looking very likely for much of the state, really fixating on southwest Alaska, the southern parts of the interior, and here in south central, where we're going to see that better chance for rain. Now, temperature-wise, many areas will likely continue to remain near seasonal values for the afternoon. Our overnight lows, thanks in large part to our cloudy skies, those actually continue to remain fairly warm for this time of year, particularly along the slope, where we're seeing those daily highs also on the warmer side in the 40s. And looking at the outlook ahead, we're going to continue to hold on to above average warmth, likely out towards areas above north of the Brooks Range, while areas out west from Kotzebue down Nome and Bethel see a slight tilt towards some cooler weather here over the next about 6 to 10 days. And that's really the only area that we'll be watching for some cooler conditions. Overall, though, you can see those temperatures today across the state sitting in the 40s and the 50s. Very few locations will make a run at 60. Kodiak will have that potential. Fairbanks may have an outside chance at warming near 60. And of course, Ketchikan may stay in the upper 50s for the remainder of the day. Looking at that 7-day forecast, you can see 50s all across the board. Today, though, low to mid 50s expected. Rain showers taper off early Friday morning. We'll catch, I'd say, about 24 hours of some dry time because that rain does build in by Saturday. So there's that brief break in the activity. Saturday afternoon and Sunday, rain looking likely. We dry out Monday, and then more rain builds in by Tuesday and Wednesday. So with each passing system, we will catch some much needed break from this rainfall. Still not expecting to see temperatures across South Central dipping into the 30s. Our average first freeze is right around September 24th. I don't think that'll happen this year. I really think we'll see our first freeze either late September or as we welcome in October, as these overcast skies and this wet weather really limits just how cold we get through the overnight hours. So for the foreseeable future, wet weather remains with us. Daily highs in the 50s and overnight lows in the mid to upper 40s. Enjoy that dry break and the peaks of sunshine that we will see tomorrow, because that's certainly not the case this afternoon. We'll have more on that coming up in the noon show, as well as in the evening newscast about all of this rain and what we have going on statewide. For now, have a great Thursday and be safe driving on those roads.